You are Locked On Sun Devils, your daily podcast on the Arizona State Sun Devils. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Richie Bradshaw, and I will be your guide for everything Arizona State Sun Devils on this YouTube live edition of the show. By the way, if you missed the live, don't worry. Everything is recorded and uploaded wherever you get your shows. So you can still listen on your Apple Music or your Spotify or wherever. You can always catch it back on YouTube as well. We try to go live every weekend. We've been gone last couple of weekends. It's been pretty darn busy between the Super Bowl and last week I had a lot of family stuff going on. So finally had some time and I was like, yeah, we can't not hop on for a live. It's been too long, and there's a lot of stuff that we got to talk about right now with recruiting, because recruiting is going absolutely crazy. Speaking of which, yesterday's show, I sat down with our own Brian Smith, now running the brand new show for Locked On called The Portal. And it's going to cover all of your bases when it comes to the transfer portal and recruiting. Definitely suggest giving it a look. Right now, there's tons of episodes every day as we get that bad boy up and running. We sat down and talked about recruiting yesterday. Very good conversation. We're going to sit down today and have good conversation as well. If you are in the chat, welcome. Appreciate you guys stopping in. Feel free to leave a comment. The best part about these lives is I make them interactive. I'm going to see your comments, and we're going to have conversations together. Do me a favor and share the live if you have not yet, and get all of us in here to talk. All right, let's talk. The recruiting is going very, very well. Obviously, 2025 pretty much settled. I'm pretty sure everyone is enrolled, or most of them are enrolled. There's a handful that have signed their letters of intent. I am curious who is going to be here early for spring ball. I know that Michael Tollefson for sure is here. I'm not sure who else is going to be able to practice for the spring sessions. I do know that Cameron Dyer, unfortunately, is out for the year while he recovers from a surgery. So we will not see the gem of this recruiting class. He was a pretty decently high 4-star kid, quarterback, receiver. Hines Ward recruited him to be a receiver. Kenny Dillingham said, no way, he's a quarterback. So I thought that this is going to be our trick play guy. I thought this is going to be this year, well, honestly, the future Cam Scadaboo for this team as that trick play guy who can catch the ball, run the ball, throw the ball. Like that was what I was hoping Cam Dyer can be. And he could be that down the road, but for right now, we're going to have to wait and see. But there's still a lot of really intriguing guys in this class. AJ Ia, Corey Butler Jr., Isaiah, is it Iosefa is coming in, Xavier Scarown, Michael Tollefson, obviously, Demarius Man Robinson. There's all sorts of guys that are going to be coming in through this recruiting class that I'm very interested in. Grayson Rigdon, also a really intriguing guy. He signed not that long ago with the program after bouncing around and trying to find a home. He has appeared to have found a home. He's a multi-sport athlete. I don't know if we're going to see him a lot. I know he hoops, but 5'11", 185 might be a little bit undersized unless he's just going to be the next, oh my gosh, what's his name? I can't remember. Muggsy. I don't know. It'll come to me. But we'll see. I like this recruiting class. I'm really interested to see who is going to be able to show up sooner rather than later for the spring sessions, the spring practices and all that, which are also around the corner. As far as I know, I didn't see official dates for spring ball. I saw that there were dates released for different camps and stuff like that are going to be over the summer, but we're going to be a few weeks out from spring ball, no more than a month away. And we're going to learn a lot about this team. It's year 3 of the Kenny Dillingham era. We're going to see a lot of his recruits from his first 3 classes now that are going to be stepping onto the field and potentially seeing bigger roles. There's not as many transfers this year as there were previous years. There's 12 transfers, which is more than what I expected, honestly. But we have seen in the first 2 classes of Kenny Dillingham 20 plus transfers for both classes. So this is a significant decrease from what we have previously seen. This is going to be a year where you're going to see the recruiting classes, the 2023, 2024, 2025. We're going to find out if Kenny Dillingham is able to coach up some good recruits that he's brought in, because he's brought in several 4-stars. He's brought in several really high 3-stars, guys that were being recruited by other big name programs across the country. This is a big year, and we're going to see how everything pans out. Now, looking beyond this, 2026, and this is where I want to spend the majority of this live, is talking about the 2026 class, because they are absolutely cooking with gas right now. 6 commits as it is, the number 16 class overall. There are a lot of visits that are scheduled and a lot of recruits that are listed as warm, according to 24/7, which, by the way, that's my go-to. I love 24/7. That's just my preference. Rivals is awesome. On3 is okay. I've never really used ESPN or anything like that, but I am typically a 24/7 person. And there are a lot of kids that are lining up visits and could potentially commit to ASU over the summer. 4-star guys as well. We have had 2 straight classes, 24 and 25, with 2 4-star kids. We already have 2 for next year, which is Jake Fette, the quarterback, and the tight end, Israel Briggs. We're going to talk about both of them in a little more detail here later on. You already have 2 4-stars, which matches what you've done in each of the last 2 classes, and I don't think they're done. I think that they're going to get some more guys. Also, really interesting is Hayden Bircher, another tight end that they landed, who is a 3-star right now. I'm curious if he could potentially boost himself into that low 4-star category. The dude's a freak, 6'4", 215, and his stats are pretty crazy if you're able to find them on, oh God, what is it? It's not On3. It's not, it might be Huddle, I think. But if you're able to find those stats, he does some crazy stuff. But yeah, 2 4-star kids right now with Briggs and with Fette. You've got a ton of players that are being lined up to visit over the next handful of weeks. You will have your first visits that are coming up in April. It'll be Friday, April 4th. All this, again, is I find it on Sun Devil Source for 24/7. This is free. You can find it yourself. This is not like premium. You have to pay for it kind of stuff. There is 2 guys that are coming in on April 4th with Cameron Hamiel. That's going to be my guess. And Cameron Cody. Hamiel is actually from Desert Edge out in Goodyear. So local kid, #Activate the Valley. There's 1 kid coming on April 18th, Joseph Credit, currently unranked from Pearland, Texas, and Pearland High School. There are 4 kids that are coming on April 25th, including Jake Fette and Israel Briggs, the 2 4-stars that are committed. Carde Mack and Isaiah, maybe, Tokyo, are also going to be coming in on that Friday. Now, and imagine that Fette and Briggs are going to have conversations with Mac and Tokyo about potentially committing to ASU while they're there. And we have seen ASU has the success and the track record of when these kids arrive on campus and they take the tour, there's been a lot of success with them committing before they leave Tempe. It feels like more often than not when ASU does land their recruits, it's very close to right after they visited. So it's going to be really interesting. The next day, so we just looked at April 25th, April 26th, the Saturday, Nayland Scott, it might be Nyland. I'm going with Nayland Scott for now, a wide receiver from Powder Springs, Georgia, 4-star kid, will be visiting. Then you go to May. May 2nd on Friday, there are 3 kids that are visiting. Jontavius Wyman, who is currently committed to Georgia. That says a lot about how good he is, even as a 3-star kid. Mason James and Jalen Williams. And then the last visit that is currently set up is Ramzak Fruian. Fruian is what I'm going with. Who's a linebacker. So, of those players that are going to be visiting, of the several players that'll be visiting from April to May, as of right now, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 recruits that have the warm status on them. And if you don't know what that means, it means that ASU is one of their higher choices. So when they start coming down to like, hey, these are my top 10 schools, these are my top 8, my top 5, my top 3, top 2, stuff like that, that is going to include ASU in this example. So if Cameron Cody, for example, the defensive lineman from Savannah, Georgia, who is visiting April 4th, if he were to release a top 10 or 15 or whatever, ASU would be included in that list more than likely, bearing something unforeseen, but 24/7 is usually pretty spot on with that stuff. So Cameron Cody and Cameron, what did I say? Hamill? If anyone knows, please let me know. I hate mispronouncing names. Those 2 both visit April 4th, and they are both warm right now. A couple weeks later, you have Joseph Credit, an unranked linebacker from Pearland, Texas. He is also rated as warm. The weekend that Jake Fette and Israel Briggs are coming to town, Carde Mack, the running back, will be visiting, and Isaiah Tokyo, the linebacker, will be visiting. Tokyo is listed as warm. The next day, Nayland Scott is visiting, 4-star kid from Powder Springs, Georgia. He has the warm status. Friday, May 2nd, you have Jontavius Wyman. Again, he is already committed to Georgia. I'm curious if it has any of the other places as warm for him. No, it just has Georgia. So, oh, interesting. He is a 4-star on the 24/7 composite, which is all the other recruiting sites collective, if I understand correctly. Anyways, Mason James, a wide receiver, 4-star, and Jalen Williams, a corner who is currently unranked, are also visiting. Mason James, the 4-star receiver, is warm. And then on Friday, May 16th, Ramzak Fruian, linebacker, 3-star, listed as warm. Let's go ahead and say we land all of these kids. Let's just go crazy for a second. You will be landing 7 more recruits. Add that to the 6 you have, and your recruiting class is up to 13 players. Yeah, it's pretty darn good. You would be adding, 3 4-stars? 1, 2. Is it really only 2? 2 4-stars. Funny enough, both of them play receiver. And then you got a handful of kids that are pretty high 3-stars. So like Ramzak Fruian is a pretty high 3-star here. Obviously, we talked about Jontavius Wyman. If they were to somehow flip him from Georgia, he is a 3-star on 24/7 and a 4-star on some other places. Let's see. Isaiah Tokyo is a consensus 3-star. Joseph Credit is he's not ranked right now. That's right. And then Cameron Hamill and Cameron Cody. Hamill is a 4-star for his composite. He is also the number 1 recruit in Arizona, so that's definitely worth noting. And then Cameron Cody is also a 4-star for the composite ranking. So if we were to cherry pick, and I love cherry picking, you would have what do we decide here? Oh, that's not even the right place I was looking. 1, 2, 3, 4. We said 5. 5 kids were rounded up to be a 4-star. Is that right? I can't remember what we said about Fruian. No, he's not ranked. Okay, well, you would still have 3 more 5-stars, or excuse me, 4 more. 4 total Final answer. Because the 2 receivers and then the corner, Hamiel from Goodyear, and Cameron Cody, the defensive lineman. You would add 4 more 4-stars to a class that already has 2 4-stars. So you're up to 6 at that point. You would have landed more 4-stars in one class than you have in the first 3 years of Kenny Dillingham. The 2023 cycle had Jaden Rashada, borderline 5-star, depending on where you looked. This year, or last year's class, that's kind of weird to say that now after everything that we've been spending all our time with. Last year's class, the 2024 cycle, had 2 4-stars with Jason Brown and Jaden 48. This year's cycle has Cameron Dyer and AJ Ia. Next year, like I said, we already have Israel Briggs. We already have Jake Fette. You might be adding 2 more 4-star receivers, a 4-star corner, and a 4-star defensive lineman. And you already have a second tight end with Hayden Bircher, who was really, really high right now as a 3-star. And I'm curious if he might be able to prop himself up to a 4-star, but, cross that bridge when we get to it. That is really, really cool, man. That is so, so cool. Also really interesting, I didn't realize that they had updated the recruits in Arizona ranking, because I know that Tate Reynolds was the number 1 guy for a minute in Arizona, and he is now not number 1. Number 5 for 24/7 and number 2 for the composite ranking. He was committed to ASU at one point for baseball, not football. He plays quarterback. So would have been nice to hold on to him, but ASU is also pretty set at quarterback right now, between the potential of Levitt having 3 more years, Jake Fette, Cam Dyer, and Michael Tollefson. Navi Bruzon is still a thing. Do not forget about Navi Bruzon, face of Activate the Valley, dying on that hill. Also, can we land Devin Fitzgerald? That would just be the coolest thing, man. Like, that would be another just like face of Activate the Valley. And just having Devin Fitzgerald, the same Fitzgerald you're thinking of, Larry's kid, to stay in the Valley where his dad became like the legend of Arizona sports. That's exciting, man. There's a lot that's going on up in the next few months. This is just through May 16th right now. We are going to get visits that go all the way through the summer. And we're going to have visits from guys that have already committed. Again, Briggs and Fette are both coming on the same weekend. Hayden Bircher, did he have his set? I thought he did. I thought he had a visit set up. Maybe I'm wrong. It does not look like it. Nope, not at this time. So, but he will probably visit. The other commits are Zeth Theus from Liberty High School. It's a good place to get recruits. Cortavius Tiasvi from Dallas, Texas, and Cooper Reed from Dripping Springs, Texas. I would imagine that the rest of those guys will also be visiting ASU at some point in time, on top of everyone else. But again, if we want to get crazy and we say that we land all 7 of the guys that are visiting that have the warm status, so that would not include Carde Mack. Oh, that was the 4-star I was trying to think of. He's a 3-star running back and a 4-star for the composite. He's currently got Cool next to him, so he doesn't have any. Is he have any warm? No, he doesn't. So right now there's not any schools that are seemingly ahead of anyone else. So who knows? We could land Mac that weekend. The corner, Jalen Williams from Marietta, Georgia. Dude, they're all over Georgia. He also does not have anyone next to him that's warm. So, I mean, you could land all these guys. You can land every single one of these dudes. That's crazy. Now, will it happen? Probably not. But it's an exciting thought to potentially land this many kids and this many 4-star players too. This is exactly what I had said was going to happen. From the moment that Kenny Dillingham got here, I said that the recruiting was going to take an uptick, and it was going to start getting better, and eventually it was going to skyrocket. Something I said way back when. This is December of 2022 when he first got hired. I said the 5 stars will come. And I guaranteed that Kenny Dillingham will land a 5-star at some point during his tenure. Right now, we don't have that yet. This will be his 4th recruiting cycle. But, I mean, you're talking about in some kind of perfect world, they already have 2 4-star kids. We're counting 4 4-stars that have the warm label next to them for visits, and then a 5th one. So we might be looking at 7 4-star kids. Yeah, the 5-stars are on their way, man. And there's more visits to come. For all we know, a 5-star could visit this summer and commit. You are trending in a terrific direction right now. And we need to talk more about it. Because everything that's going on with the recruiting is it's special, man. Like, I can't remember having this much optimism when it came to how well ASU had been recruiting. Like, sure, Todd Graham and Herm Edwards landed 4-star kids all the time. Herm Edwards landed Jaden Daniels, who was borderline a 5-star, depending on where you looked. Funny enough, 24/7 did not have him as a 5-star, which I still think is kind of weird, but, neither here nor there. They have landed some highly recruited kids over the last 10 to 15 years, but maybe I'm wrong, but I really don't feel like ASU has recruited at this high of a rate in a long time, the way that 2026 is trending right now. Dude, you had Jake Fette commit all the way back in September, man. And I don't think he's going anywhere. I think that Fette is all in on the Sun Devils right now. And I don't know what it would take to pull him and pry him away from Tempe, Arizona. But he's someone that I've talked about on the podcast before, someone I'm very excited for, and it's not slowing down anytime soon. Israel Briggs and Hayden Bircher are only going to add to a stacked tight end room. Like Jason Mons, whatever he is doing, recruiting the tight end position, I don't know what his pitch is, but it's working. He's landing everyone. He has now, besides the 2023 class, landed a 4-star tight end in every single year. 2024, Jaden 48. 2025, AJ Ia. 2026, Israel Briggs, maybe Hayden Bircher could get to that point. Jason Mons is recruiting out of his mind right now. He might be the best recruiter on this team, on this staff, I should say. That's not Kenny Dillingham. If you take Dillingham out of the equation, I think Jason Mons might be the best single recruiter for this program. It's nuts what he's doing. Talk about A-plus hires and just home runs, swings that just take you out of the park. Like, that's Jason Mons. Terrific hire. Let's take a look at 2027 here. 2027, there are currently no commits for this team, which that's not a surprise. They are still offering all sorts of kids right now. A lot of them don't have rankings currently because you're talking about a class that is 2 years away, but they are offering a ton of kids. So from the offers that they have sent out, 10 quarterbacks have been offered. 3 of them already have 4-stars. I would assume that they have a chance to get up to a 5-star at some point in time. 3 running backs have been offered, including Noah Roberts, who plays at Basha in Chandler. 16 receivers have been offered, including a 4-star kid in Damani Warren. And Aiden Starling has already committed to Houston. Let's see if you can flip him. That'd be interesting. 5 tight ends have been offered. I assume you're going to land at least one of them, especially if one of them's a 4-star. Like, it's just death taxes and Jason Mons recruiting 4-star tight ends. 10 offensive tackles, including Jake Hildebrand from Basha High School in Chandler, who is currently a 4-star and the number 2 recruit in the state of Arizona for 2028. I assume he is behind, the wide receiver Dante Tyson. Wait, no. Oh, okay, never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about. Ignore me. Yeah. So they have not offered Dante Tyson yet. That's definitely going to change at some point in time. But they are after the – I accidentally closed that tab. I didn't mean to do that. They are – dude, where did my tab go? Is this it? There we go. So 10 offensive tackles, 1 interior guy, 3 edge rushers, including Richard Wesley, who is, as of right now, the number 2 recruit in the 2027 class. Pretty exciting. From Chatsworth, California. 10 defensive linemen have been offered, including 4 stars George Toia and Zane Rowe. 8 linebackers have been offered, including 4 stars Antoine Higgins and Liafua. I don't even want to try and I 100% would butcher that. He plays at I can't even pronounce the city he's from. Eastside Catholic out in Washington State. That's the best that I can give for you guys. 14 corners are being recruited, including 4 stars Josiah Molden and Jacob Whitehead. Both of them corners, if I didn't say that. 5 safeties are being recruited, including 4-star Adrian Cole, and 15 athletes are being recruited for various positions. The 4 stars include Duve Williams from California, Crew Jones from Utah, and Arian Washington from California. There are offers out for 2028 as well. They are way ahead of the curve. 9 quarterbacks, 5 wide receivers, 1 tackle, 1 interior lineman, 1 defensive lineman, 2 corners, 4 safeties, 3 athletes. They are way, way ahead of the game right now when it comes to this recruiting. And that's what is making everything so special. And keep in mind, some of these 2026 kids that are committing, they have also been recruited since Kenny Dillingham and the staff got here in 2023. That's how special all of this is we have been in contact with these players since they were freshmen and sophomores in high school. Do you understand how cool that is? To see the interest that Kenny Dillingham and this coaching staff have taken into making sure that they continue recruiting at a high level to sustain the success that ASU is having. They went from 3-9 in their first year to 11-3 this past season with a college football playoff appearance and a double overtime loss, but double overtime game against Texas. Is it a Cinderella team or is it a sign of things to come? We're going to find out this year. But I can tell you, based off of what I see for the recruiting alone, I am pretty confident that that was a sign of things to come. And again, this incoming class too, it's not just the 4 stars of Cam Dyer and AJ Ia, because Corey Butler Jr. from Centennial High School in Corona, California, we've had a lot of luck from Centennial High School in Corona. He's coming in as a high 3-star kid. Who else? Benjamin Alefeo, I probably mispronounced that, is a high 3-star safety coming in. They killed it in the transfer portal. Nyland Green, former 5-star recruit out of high school. Jaron Hamilton, former 4-star recruit out of high school. Kamari Anderson, the tight end, former 4-star. Noble Johnson, wide receiver, former 4-star. And then they're bringing in other guys who were studs like Lane Udo and Jalen Moss and Adrian Wilson, Michael Gardner. They're just absolutely killing it right now when it comes to recruiting. They're bringing in kids from high school. They've been tearing apart the transfer portal since the moment that Kenny Dillingham arrived on campus. Whatever you're looking for to get done from this coaching staff for the recruiting aspect of things, they're getting it done. They are taking care of it. It's something that we need to be very excited about. We can focus a lot of our excitement for the on-field stuff, and that's where it should be focused. Winning football games is all that matters at the end of the day. You can be recruiting nothing but 2 stars and 3 stars, but if you're winning football games, who cares? Because there's programs that recruit 5 stars on a yearly basis and don't do anything. So it's not so much about the star rankings. I've said this before. It's really cool. It's cool for us as fans to go, look at that 5-star we just got. And I mean, they're 5-star for reasons, because they're very talented and they've got that potential to turn into something very, very talented and take that next step. They likely have a better shot because of gifts that they have compared to other guys. But sometimes it's just about being good at football. Cam Scadaboo was not ranked coming out of high school. 0 stars, nothing. One offer to Sacramento State, goes to Arizona State, and becomes a legend in college football, let alone the program. It's not just about the star ratings, but it's still something that matters. It's still something that's really cool for the fans. And it sends a message to the rest of the nation that, oh, wow, look at that. Arizona State's recruiting 5 stars now. Wow, I didn't see that coming. Look at Arizona State. They have 7 4-star kids for next year's class. They had less than 7 4-star kids from Kenny's first 3 classes. Like, it is truly a special sight to see right now for what is going on with recruiting at Arizona State. And I really hope that you guys stay in touch with it. And I mean, I'll help you guys stay in touch too. But wherever you decide to look, like I said, I go to 24/7. I will tell you that Rivals is excellent as well. They do some great work over there. There's all sorts of places that'll keep you up to date on recruiting that do a great job. And it's something that I plan on doing a lot more of on the podcast moving forward, if for no other reason than I'm just a sicko when it comes to recruiting. Like the NFL draft and high school recruiting are like 2 of my favorite things. Just team building. It's just the best. But we will have a lot of conversations on recruiting moving forward, especially now that ASU is recruiting at the level that they're recruiting. Yeah, you better believe we're going to have more podcasts like this where it's like, hey, ASU just landed 2 more 4 stars. Let's talk about it. ASU just landed their first 5-star. Let's talk about it. ASU had 6 kids commit over the weekend. Let's talk about it. There is a lot of recruiting news that is going to start stockpiling for the Sun Devils. This is just the beginning. And we've already had a taste of it. We've had these 4 stars commit despite this program being just in the worst place possible. You had Jaden Fortier and Jason Brown, 4-star kids, commit when you had 3 wins. You convinced Jaden Rashada, a super high 4-star / 5-star, to commit like from day one of the Kenny Dillingham era, and he has to sell this program, was able to convince Jaden Rashada to come in. And now the recruiting uptick is there. And now you're seeing the success, and it's bringing these kids in. They go, I want to be a part of this. This is really cool what's going on in Tempe, Arizona. Arizona State's on the upswing. That's a sleeping giant. Ooh, the NIL's starting to cash up a little bit. You know what? I'm interested in my education. Oh, well, Arizona State has everything for me. Like, there's a lot that this program or this university is offering for these students. And now the program is starting to offer even more for these kids to have a chance to compete at a Power 4 level, for these kids to compete for national championships, because you get into the college football playoff and anything can happen. There's a lot here that is suddenly becoming incredibly attractive for these kids, these 16, 17, 18-year-old kids. And they look at Arizona State in ways that they have not previously looked at Arizona State. It's grabbing their attention. There is something going on. Kenny Dillingham, we've long said, this is a great recruiter. Can he coach it up? That's why this season is going to be a big deal. We're going to find out with these 4-star kids, how do they look? Jason Brown and Jaden Fortier are going to see the field more this year. AJ Ia, probably going to see the field more this year. Some of their other really high 3-star kids. Their 2023 cycle, guys like Keith Abney and CJ Fite have already stepped into larger roles. That's a good sign. Montana Warren could be in for something big. What about the defensive backs from the 2024 class? Well, this is where we start finding those things out. How do these recruiting classes look in the long run? Is it just names? Is it just being able to bring guys in? Or are you able to coach them up to their potential, maybe even better? That's what is so exciting about what's to come here. I love it. I love the direction ASU is going right now for the recruiting. And I love all of you guys for tuning in to make Locked On Sun Devils your first listen of the day, and to tune in to the lives as well, which we have every weekend moving forward. We had 2 weeks off for family stuff and the Super Bowl, but we're back every weekend. As of right now, we're on Saturdays, may pivot back to Sundays. That is TBD, but we'll always have something to talk about. So make sure that you hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you get the update when we go live. We have content Monday through Friday, so make sure that you are up to date on all of that as well, covering all things football, covering all things ASU basketball. We will keep you updated and in the loop here on Locked On Sun Devils. My name is Richie Bradshaw. I'll be your host for everything Sun Devils, your guide, rather. And I'll catch you guys next time. I'll see you Monday. Till then, you keep it locked right here on Locked On Sun Devils. And thanks to all of you, and especially my everydayers who are here every